Well, hello there, Ferocia Knight. This is day 4 of the Passion to Profit Lab. This is our final and 4th video. We're going to add up everything. So if you haven't had a chance to finish like the first 3 videos, go down to the links below. Go ahead and do that. You're going to really benefit from this training, especially because today we're going to put it all together so that you can really see who it is you're going to help and, more importantly, the transformation you're going to make. So let's talk about what we're doing today. What we're going to do is take your potential, that's your knowledge, your skills, your experience, expertise, everything you've accumulated up to today. Take away the things that aren't really fun for you anymore. So if you're really skillful at something and that's not what you'd like to put into your next career, let's move it aside. And then we're also going to take all of those passionate interests of yours, whether they're new and kind of developing at this point, things you're going to be building on as you develop into your coaching career, or if there's something you've been really passionate about for years and just kind of got pushed aside because that day job didn't value it. Whatever it is, those passionate interests, new, old, developing, along with your potential, that's kind of your genius. That's your zone of genius. And we also talked about on day 3, your people and who it is that you would really, truly love to help. And we kind of started to talk a little bit about what it is you might help them with, but that's what I'm going to talk about in a deeper level today. So if you excuse me for a second, I am going to go and put my screen share on, hopefully really easily. And that'll give me an opportunity to look at a visual and share it with you so I can talk a little bit more intimately about this exact thing. So the first thing that I want to talk about here is what I call your zone of genius. And if you notice, it's connected to your potential, which is also connected to your perspective. And I'll come back to that a little bit later, but also your passions, which is also connected to your personality. So when you think about that upper level there, that's kind of what you're bringing to the table. And then where it says people, those are your ideal clients or your ideal tribe. And let's not forget that they're coming with their own passions, their own potential, their own perspectives, and their own personality too. So in essence, you're bringing your whole self to meet them with their whole self to form what's called that zone of genius, which is actually shared between you and the client. And from there, that's what you leverage to help them to get from point A to point B. And the most important thing to think about right now is this is going to feel really ooey gooey, kind of all over the place, because until you've started coaching people, it's really hard to kind of go, okay, this is it. And if you've been coaching already, you probably already start to know what it is. And what it is that transformation that you make. And what I'd like to do is hit pause for a second and have you guys make out 3 little circles here and take the time to transfer that potential that you really want to put into your business. So maybe you know something about, I'm just going to be lazy here and say nutrition. And that's something you'd like to bring out into the world and help people with. And in particular, you have a perspective that you really believe that whole foods, which is fuel, of course, is your kind of way of getting things done with your clients. And what's important about that is that you have a particular point of view or a particular perspective that's going to inform how you use your potential, how that knowledge works to help your clients to get from point A to point B. Now, when it comes to your passions, I'd like to also mention that even though your personality is separate than your passions, but when you're at your passion at best, you are going to be soaring with your personality. You're going to just be vibrant. And that's very magnetizing to people. And so I also want you to really think about it is, you're bringing your passions, but when you bring your whole self forward, your personality shines through naturally. And that's what makes you very approachable and desirable as a partner to your ideal people. So if you haven't done this already, go ahead and make the 3 circles and start to transfer that information into this new format. And again, your perspective is kind of your unique approach. I'll come back to that in just a minute, but I want you to kind of put your content in here so you can start to see it cohese, kind of gravitating, and then really looking at your zone of genius. So go ahead and hit pause. I'm going to do the same. And I'll see you in maybe 10 minutes after you've done this. And we'll come back to this model, but I want you to be able to see it. So hit pause. Well, hello, and I'm back, and I'm hoping that you had a good time figuring this out. I think your potential and your passions and the people you want to serve the most is probably the most important 3 things to know deeply and intimately, because the more you stay aligned to your passions and in alignment with your greatest strengths and skills and talents, and the more you really know who you want to help, the easier it is for you to find clients and to thrive as a professional coach. So again, I'm going to change over to my little screen share thing here, and I've got another picture I'd like to share with you. And as I mentioned, your zone of genius with your client's zone of genius is really important in this next step of the process. And what we're looking at is what I call the transformational arc. And I'll kind of go through it so you know what we're looking at. It's besides some cute little graphics here. But when a client comes to you, they're usually at point A meaning their present situation. They're stuck with something, they're struggling, they've tried to figure things out on their own, but for some reason they haven't been able to. So they're at that point A or their present situation or circumstance. So let's pretend we're going to go back to that nutrition. Maybe you're working with Sally, and Sally has maybe gained about 30, 40 pounds. She got married, ended up becoming a stay-at-home mom, and things kind of slid by the wayside in terms of her health. And now their kids are grown, she's kind of tired of feeling frumpy and wants to feel more good about herself. And she doesn't want to go through some fast, trendy diet. She really wants a long-term solution, and she wants the right kind of support. Now, here comes you, the person with some nutrition background, a vivid study of whole foods, you know how to put meal plans together, you know how to help people to stay motivated and work through the thick and thin. And, that's your zone of genius. And so if you look at the top part there, we have an arc, and it's called your zone of genius plus coaching. So what we're trying to do is help our client go from point A, where she's stuck and struggling with that extra weight, to her desired outcome. So I guess for Sally, what that really might mean is she's not only lighter, but she probably is feeling healthier and good about herself as a whole person. So there might be other areas you're working on besides just the weight loss, especially maybe around emotions and feeling good about transitioning back into her life after being a parent full time. And there's so much that can come with that. And after all, we've got a lot of complexity being a human being to work with here. So your zone of genius, your nutrition, you having gone through your own experience with the yo-yo dieting and finally making it to your weight. Again, this is hypothetical. All that helps you to know what to expect when you're working with Sally. You've kind of traveled the road, so you have some ideas of what she might encounter. And so that can really help her with some of those limited perspectives or those limiting beliefs that she might have, helping her come up with some skills or some strategies, really helping her to get beyond some of those most obvious, visible stopping blocks. Now, where the coaching really helps you at this level is it really helps you amplify your effectiveness. And it helps because it helps her to feel safe and open and receptive to receiving your support, and also helps you to share the information in a way that she actually feels motivated, intrinsically motivated to move forward towards that desired outcome. Now, that being said, that's your traditional coaching. That's where we're really changing behaviors, changing performance, maybe changing a little bit of thinking. But on the underside of coaching, where your more advanced coaching skills will really start to take place, is with what I would call the invisible stopping blocks. And what I'm talking about is those things that aren't really obvious to the client, things that aren't really obvious to the coach, that really hold the client back. And that's when you start to get into more of those emotional territories or patterns that have been developing unconsciously for years to come. I mean, where someone, even though they know everything and it seems really easy, just can't get over to that other side. They can't get over those so-called stopping blocks. And it's because there's something underneath the radar that they're just not able to move. And I think before I may have mentioned, there's mental blocks, there's emotional blocks, there's social blocks, spiritual blocks, and even physical blocks that are just embodied. And of course, in whole person coaching, we teach you a lot of kind of what's going on at that lower level, the level that's really just off the client's radar and often off our radar too. And of course, as someone who's traveled the journey, you've probably encountered some of those invisible blocks on your own, because it's what made it possible for you to create your own desired outcome. So what's important to think about right now is when we're talking about the transformation you make, your clients at the present situation, they want to be at the desired. You're helping them move beyond their stopping blocks to be more effective at being who they are, gaining the skills, the competence to get to that end result. But what is also happening is you're helping them create something that is tangible. And for Sally, it might just be weight loss. It might also be the confidence. It might be her ability to go out in the world and find her dream partner. You know, obviously I said she was married earlier, so I'm just catching that incongruency. But, you know, for whoever you're working with, it's usually far more than just what they say they want. Now, what helps you is you've got the coaching skills that keep them motivated, helps them to really move those deeper blocks and really become more effective overall at really figuring things out for themselves. So when I think about the transformation you make, it's really what you enable people to have as a result of working with you, or what you help people to feel as a result of working with you, or to become. Maybe they become more confident. You know, it feels like it's more feeling, but there's confidence also has an embodiment to it. Or maybe they become a more effective leader. It's more about how their identity changes. And of course, there's also things like you're helping them to acquire new skills, be able to do things more effectively and more competently or comfortably, however that looks for them. But think about it as what you help them to do, what you help them to gain or have, what you enable them to step into, who they get to become. And of course, always changing those feelings so they always feel really good about themselves, which makes for a happier, healthier, and more prosperous life. So I want to go back, though, before I close up here today. And what I'd like to do is talk about your personality and your perspective and how it really helps you to stand out. Okay? So just to recap, I realize I'm going back and forth with my slides a little bit here, so I just want to be clear. The last thing we talked about was really how you take your potential and take your passions and add coaching to really help your client move forward and address those invisible layers that hold most people back, yourself included. And remember, coaching isn't just for clients, it's for us too. But secondarily, I want you to really know the importance of your perspective and your personality to differentiate yourself as a coach. And here's how that works. So you've probably heard of the Atkins diet or the keto diet or Nutrisystem or Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig. All those are different approaches to solving the same problem. And all of those approaches came because someone had a particular perspective, a particular way or approach of how someone might be able to most effectively lose weight. So your perspective is how you feel is the best way, or what you believe, or what you know to believe from your own experience or through your experience working with others, to be the most effective way to facilitate someone from that present state to the desired state. Now, one of the beautiful things about whole person coaching is you actually gain a system that is proven, worked with thousands and thousands of people globally to help them move from point A to point B. Where your perspective comes in is the nuances on how you make this process truly yours and how it helps to truly work with your ideal clients. And this is really important because your particular perspective will probably develop as you coach more and more people. In fact, I see it all the time. We start to see, you know, we're attracting a particular client base and they have particular needs. And we start to say, you know what, if I actually focus on these core needs of my clients using my coaching process, my particular tribe is going to be very effective. And that might actually be already stemming from your life experience or your skills or your knowledge, you know, that genius that you're bringing to the table. So your perspective brings together kind of your point of view, and which informs your approach on how you're going to leverage your wisdom and that zone of genius to support your ideal clients. And of course, when you're marketing yourself, by sharing that unique perspective and standing by your beliefs and writing your manifesto and all these marketing terms I'm not going to overload you with, but by speaking from that place of authority, because you've lived it, you've studied it, you know it, you've seen it work by coaching other people, you've seen the transformation, that helps you to become kind of the authority. And that's kind of a funny word, so some people don't like it, but kind of the expert in your particular niche. So whatever language works for you, I just care that you're the go-to coach for those who need you the most and that you're positioning yourself well. So your perspective is one way that you're going to truly position yourself to those who need you the most. And so that brings me to your personality. Your perspective magnetizes people to you because you've got a unique approach that resonates with how they think and their values and their belief systems around new possible ways to solve their problems. Your personality assures them that you are the one that can help them on their journey. Now, if you happen to be introverted or maybe someone that doesn't like to be really big in the room, there are plenty of people that are equally as introverted and equally as shy, or however you want to call it, that would love, love, love to work with you. Why? Because you get them. You understand their world. You understand what it's like to be them. And if you're extroverted, same thing goes. Now, what I'm trying to get at is your personality as it is already a magnet that once it shines itself, once you shine yourself more so, then other people can go, you know what? I actually trust this person to help me. And you're going to know, just like if you're going out dating or if you're going out to make new friends, some people really resonate with one another, others don't. Some resonate enough to where the transformation can be made. So the beautiful thing is you have a lot of opportunity to meet a lot of people that you could truly help by just being you. So this is kind of the end of this little micro series. And this is where I really want to say, go back and do the homework, because what I'm showing you is essentially the 5 essential elements to profiting from your passions. Really know what your potential is, really align to those passions, really know who you want to help most, figure out ways to shine your life, showing your unique perspective and being who you are. And that at the core is the genius behind a transformational business. Well, thank you so much for being part of this learning journey with me. Ferocia Knight here from Coach Training World. If you have questions, again, use that comments box below. I actually will respond. I would love to see you out in the world making your difference, leveraging your passion and your potential to help those people that need you the most, magnetizing them to you by shining your light with who you are, your personality, and your unique perspective. And really, more importantly, taking good care of you and making your life the dream life you've always wanted. Now, at this point, what I would love to say is if you are seriously considering or even just starting to think about if coaching or a particular whole person coaching or a Coachpreneur Academy is right for you, go ahead and pick up the phone. Give me a call, 1-888, let me slow down, 1-888-660-5588, or schedule an appointment with me. I'll put the little box below. I would love to talk to you and just share any information that might be really relevant to your unique situation. I know that becoming a coach is a big decision, especially if you're going to change your career, and it's not something to be taken lightly. And I really do want you to be in the right place and well equipped so that you'll totally succeed. So again, Ferocia Knight here, and I really hope that you have your best life right in front of you in the next year or two, if not tomorrow. All right. Mwah! Thanks so much for being here with me, and I really do wish you all